Today, a week after the story first hit, the BBC Director General George Entwistle apologised.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at British companies that aren't what they used to be, or global companies that ruined their reputation, but only in the UK.
Debt collectors working for British Gas have been obtaining court warrants.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
KFC. We're starting off with an American company, of course, but KFC had a notorious issue back in 2018 that only affected us here in Blighty.
Will I get a free rice box then for coming down? Because I've had to go to Burger King.
Yes, we're talking about the chicken shortage, when KFC changed delivery companies and the logistics of its supply network collapsed, leaving the majority of branches without any chicken to serve.
The chicken shortage, which has forced KFC to close hundreds of its outlets in the UK, is our next story.
Many outlets closed completely, while others ran massively reduced menus because there were other items that hadn't been delivered too. The issue could be traced back to another foreign firm, DHL, based in Germany, whose network in the UK just couldn't handle the volume of chicken needed to keep the nation's KFCs up and running.
And the contract changed last week. They had months to plan for it, and the chicken is stuck in the warehouse.
Tesco. In 2013, Europe was gripped by the horsemeat scandal.
Tests carried out in Ireland found horse DNA in a number of big brand name beef products. One, a Tesco value beef burger, contained as much as 29% horse meat.
The scandal made the biggest waves in the UK, where eating horse is taboo and affected Tesco's reputation more than any other companies. All sorts of products were removed from sale, from beef burgers to frozen lasagnas, because people couldn't be sure what meat was in them.
British firms have been told to test all their processed beef products for traces of horse meat or pork within a week.
Or where it had come from. This was worse news for people following strict religious diets, like Jewish people and Muslims, who need to be sure that the food they eat is what it says on the packet.
Findus built a trusted brand over generations, and it will take a long time to win back consumer confidence. This scandal will do great damage to the meat processing industry as a whole.
It took years for people to regain trust in Tesco and the meat suppliers whose supply chain had caused the issue in the first place. Cadbury.
By and large, the British opinion of American chocolate is...
yuck.
One of the UK's most beloved brands, Cadbury has been providing us with delicious chocolate for 200 years. At least it was until 2009, when it was bought by the giant American multinational Kraft Foods.
For many people here, the great chocolate debate is more than a matter of personal taste. It's a matter of British national pride.
Everybody was against this at the time, since the US is known the world over for having some of the worst chocolate out there. And our fears were proven true when in 2023, the classic Cadbury recipe for dairy milk was changed.
I just can't believe it at all. It's nothing British anymore.
Cadbury is still going strong and remains the most popular chocolate brand in Britain, but it's just not been the same since we let the Americans get their hands on it.
Protesters call the buyout a sellout, the loss of a national treasure.
Thames Water.
Swimming in poo. Not just the ducks, and not just here.
They're not the only water company in trouble at the moment. In fact, all of England's private water companies are in hot, smelly water for dumping raw sewage into our seas and rivers. Despite mass public outrage dating back years, the problem just keeps getting worse, with more and more sewage finding its way into the water.
You've got this murky water coming through, and every now and again you'll see a bit of this sewage fungus float by as well.
Thames Water has been getting worse quicker than the other companies, however, with sewage overflow reaching record levels. Thames Water saw its boss resign in 2023, and finally, multiple companies decided they'd stop giving out bonuses to executives, but the problem still isn't getting any better.
Another 25 years of poo, and water companies wanting to increase our bills to pay for updates to our ageing, overflowing sewage system.
Rockstar North. Given Rockstar has made its name creating distinctly American games like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, it's easy to forget that the company's humble origins lie in Scotland.
Rockstar are a huge deal. They're a development studio behind the GTA series, and even if you've never played, even if you've never touched a controller, you know what Grand Theft Auto is.
Rockstar North is based in Edinburgh and remains a crucial studio under the larger Rockstar umbrella, founded by the Houser brothers, who are both English.
Rockstar North here in Edinburgh is the largest of the studios working on this game.
But in October 2018, an article was published exposing Rockstar for horrendous working conditions, with many employees saying they worked as many as 60 hours a week, often without days off, something called crunch.
So are you pushing the boundaries of what's capable with interactive entertainment at the moment?
You know, I think everything that we've done is to serve that goal.
Since the stories broke, Rockstar says it's completely overhauled its company culture and now no longer crunches its staff. BT.
Good morning. Landlines are going digital as the UK phone network gets a massive overhaul.
It's faced a lot of criticism in recent years for its business practices, but in 2024, BT announced that by the following year, it hoped to abolish traditional analogue landlines completely, replacing it all with digital voice. As you can imagine, this hasn't gone down well at all. Landlines might be old-fashioned, but they have the key benefit of still working during a power cut, which digital voice will not.
But 1.7 million households have no internet connection at home, and up to 1 million people have actually cut back or cancelled their internet packages in the past year.
As well as that, digital voice requires a reliable internet connection, which many in rural areas and lots of elderly people don't have.
Lots of devices, actually, from traffic lights to ATMs, rely on the analogue phone network. And in our homes, so do some burglar alarms and health alert systems.
Providers are saying that they'll install the broadband line and won't charge people extra if it's only being used for the phone, but it's still difficult to swallow. Dr. Martens. Ask any footwear aficionado and they'll tell you that the iconic Doc Martens just aren't what they used to be.
So I test it against Masters watches, so standards set in place that have been around since we first started making it.
These reliable, world-famous boots used to last a lifetime, and if you bought a pair in the 80s or 90s, when they were still at their peak, you might still be wearing them now. However, since 2019, it's become clear that as production has shifted out of the UK, the quality of Docs has massively declined.
Talk me through what you're doing now.
So, yeah, basically just, I know that's, check it for quality and it's nice and soft vamp.
Though the company itself disagrees, customers have found that the newer shoes made in Asia don't hold up like the old ones, and even the Made in England line, which is more expensive, aren't as durable as they should be.
So if your Dr. Martin boots are, holding together as they should, that's because they've been seen by the watchful eye of Gale. Fingers crossed that I pass my inspection.
British Gas. Much like BT and England's water companies, British Gas is another corporation that used to be publicly owned and has now run itself into the ground.
Today's report from British Gas shows its profits soared from 98 million to 969 million in the first half of this year compared to last.
The 2020s have been plagued with crises, including the rocketing price of energy bills, of which British Gas was a huge part.
Centrica itself announced a 33% hike in dividends, a huge prize for shareholders.
Despite massively increasing bills, British Gas went on to report record profits year after year. British Gas was also revealed to have been hiring people to force-fit prepayment meters on the homes of people in arrears in 2023.
And clearly what happens is if they are suddenly unable to put money in their meter, well then their energy supplies are cut off.
It and the other firms responsible were ordered to stop, but these scandals have still left people looking for alternate suppliers. Nibble.
It is really difficult for people to value art, and which is why I guess NFTs are a bit of an alien.
This American NFT startup went viral online for all the wrong reasons back in 2021, when NFTs were still relevant. In fact, the mocking of its original name was so extreme that it was forced to change its name to the name it has now, Nibble. That previous name was Nonce Finance, with nonce being a cryptocurrency term meaning number only used once.
We also have to remember cryptocurrencies are really hard to use for normal people.
Of course, here in the UK, nonce means something completely different. So seeing a company proudly announce that it was launching under the name Nonce Finance was hilarious. They ruined their reputation here before they even had a chance to build one, in an incident that could have been avoided if they'd just done some research.
Right now it seems like a bit of a fairy tale, right? Like you can go make this NFT and sell it, get a bunch of money. Great. And maybe for a few that's the case, but mostly for everybody, probably not.
The BBC. The Beeb has been slowly eroding its reputation for years, but there are a handful of notable incidents that have made public opinion take a real plunge.
When did public attitudes start to change about Jimmy Savile? You may have said after the ITV documentary last week. You'd be wrong.
Chief among them was Jimmy Savile, whose crimes were knowingly covered up and ignored by the BBC for decades, which also notoriously pulled a Newsnight expose on him when he died, so that it could run positive coverage.
She was interviewed last week and explained that she told her story to Newsnight, but that Newsnight had decided not to run the story.
More recently, and there was the Match of the Day fiasco, when the BBC's Director General, Tim Davie, an ex-Tory candidate, tried to sack Gary Lineker for making comments about the Tories on his personal social media.
The BBC says it'll have a frank conversation with Match of the Day presenter Gary Lineker.
The corporation just can't do anything right. Let us know in the comments which of these companies you think should go bankrupt.
In the last hour or so, Downing Street has described Gary Lineker's criticism of new asylum policy as not acceptable.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.